5 for receipt, 30 for decision, 30 for appeal. Right? Great.
Do you want me to add the sentence about appeal there as well, or just about this particular document, the first step?
I don't think so. I
Okay.
think the response would list the appeal language. I think, well, I'll make a motion if people don't want to see it. I'll move that we accept the redlined collection development policy, including the 2 appendices and the form, subject to the edits just noted.
Okay. Vote. Andrew?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Yes.
All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Here. Thank you. Thank you for that. It's nice to have that housekeeping detail taken care of.
Next item on the agenda, review updates to the policy on distribution, posting, and collection of materials.
I don't know why I stopped sharing my screen. Most of these are housekeeping details. Again, we just like to review these, make sure that they are relevant. This is why I normally bring a mouse to the meeting. Okay, so on the red line, the first few are related very specifically to clarifying. Also, it takes the borrower services desk out of the loop. There's no reason they need to be able to answer questions about things posted on the board. We want the bullet points are clarified so that they match, because we don't have Cherry here to make sure that all of our grammar is equally balanced. I took out the paragraph. I took out 2 things very specifically. Posted materials shall not contain illegal, threatening, or intimidating messages. First of all, we can't actually monitor content. We can do time, place, and manner, but not content. Also, if something's illegal, then that's out of our hands and we would be calling public safety. So I think if something's illegal, that's a given. And the second thing that I took out was that there's no reason that special considerations for the Friends or the foundation, but rather because everything, this has really more to do with the collections of things or having a fundraiser or something like that. There's really no reason to have that in there because they're really essentially part of the library. But the community organizations may petition the board for authorization to install temporary collection receptacles for initiatives that serve the public interest or enhance community welfare. And I know I copied that from someone else's policy because I thought it scanned very well. But it really gets to the point of, yes, we'll do Toys for Tots. No, we might not do the shoe thing again because it was out of control. But it gives you the discretion to decide, if the board decides everything that we're going to collect has to do with environmental things, so we'll collect batteries, or you periodically go through. We still collect the glasses for the Lions, but it's not viewed as a permanent thing. It's something that we kind of revisit every once in a while to make sure that it's okay. The history behind that piece is that at one point, everybody had a box at the library, and there were literally shoe boxes lined up for ink cartridges and batteries, and it was kind of getting out of control. So it became sort of an application petition, and rarely does anyone say no, but if we've had this discussion before, if we're already doing 3 things in the lobby, we don't necessarily want to add a 4th thing. So it just gives us a little more control of those collections, not so much the posting of materials, but this is really more about the collecting of things. So those are the big changes that you can read through. There is a merged version in the document that you can read over for the next meeting and decide if there's anything else that you'd like to change there, but mostly housekeeping and a few clarifying, clarifying comments. I mean, changes. Are there any questions?
Days of time or something?
Before we,
Do we have any sort of time limit in terms of how long you can have a box in the collection box?
so far it's been, has to be part of the application. We asked people when is the start and when is the end. So Toys for Tots, which we actually should probably be talking about today, but I don't have on the agenda. Maybe I do. Usually has a start date and an end date. If it's not on the agenda, it should be. And then, you know, the shoe people that, I think that was for one of the elementary schools, they had a long date, which I remember we were like, that's a long time. So I think in that case would be something like, well, can you shorten the time? Because it was a long time to have shoes piling up in our lobby. So I think it's part of the application.
Is there an actual application?
No, it's just, we ask that people send a note or a letter to either addressing the trustees or addressing someone at the library. Sometimes it's just someone comes and, you know, often the student ones are very sweet. They actually follow the directions very specifically. But usually sometimes it's a scout troop. Most people follow the directions.
Nothing else, it looks clear.
Any
Okay.
questions, anybody? That'll be for a vote next meeting.
Yes, that would be in November.
And did you? Okay, that's- Excellent. Next item on the agenda is, I believe, director's report. Is it not? Financial report.
I did not put the Toys for Tots on there, did I? I'll have it by the November. So we're talking over here about the Toys for Tots, which, as I recall, we normally put in the October one because they start collecting like the very first of November. And we always do a retro thing like, oh, by the way, we have the Toys for Tots things out. So I would ask at this point, they do have a limit. It is organized through the fire department and the US Marines. And we usually have one box and it usually gets full quite quickly. The fire department / Marines are very good about coming to empty that and make sure that it doesn't overflow. So as the first part of the director's report or financial before that, I would request that the board approve having a Toys for Tot collection box in the lobby of the library.
Move that we approve the placement of Toys for Tots box in the library for this Christmas.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you very much. I apologize for leaving that off the agenda. Okay. Financial report. It was a great financial month because the foundation gave us the money for the library project. So we have a big influx. Megan has been great working with accounting, making sure it goes into a very specific account. It's where everything will be paid out of. We are ready and waiting. We also had a few other minor gifts, one in memory and then some general cash donations. The director's report in your packet says that the draft level 1 budget will be at the November 12th meeting, and that's a Wednesday. I'm changing that because I will be away at that point and I will just not have time to create the draft budget before I leave. So rather instead, it will be at the December 8th. So we have done it in December, and then you should know that I'll be presenting that same budget, barring any major changes you might have, presenting that budget to the select board on December 9th, the very next day on Tuesday. It's nothing you have to vote on. It's just really a courtesy so you all can see the budget before we make it public to the rest of the world. The financial forum was on October 9th. Tomorrow, I'm sorry, it wasn't was last week the 9th? Yes, last week was the 9th. Wednesday, the Finance Committee will meet again to deliver the actual guidance, and that's where we do things like, from that meeting is where we'll set the non-union increases, and then what the they decide how much free cash to use, and gives the overall. But it is going to be a very financially tight year. You can expect to see a reduction to bare bones expenses. The goal is not to have any cuts up to any services, so people will stay. It's really hard to cut all expenses and then cut, a little bit in every expense and maintain all level services. So we will try our best, but every little bit helps. So it'll be an interesting budget year. And at this point, so far, they don't see the need for an override in 2026 for the FY27 budget. Although there may be one needed in 26 or 27 for the FY28 budget. So that's another year out. Are there any questions about finance or budget?
Have you heard yet what the percentage increase is that's going to?
That's what they'll confirm on Wednesday. So I can't speak to that. I think my guess is it's somewhere 3% or below. Obviously, the lower, the harder it is. The schools, percentage is significant. So, but my sense is that the schools and the town and all the departments, and particularly Sharon Engstrom, the town accountant, are working really, really hard to try and juggle as much as they can to get as much as they can out of this particular budget. It'll probably be the hardest budget that we have or have had since 2017. I am not going to recommend cutting Sunday hours at this point because I do think, unless something happens on Wednesdays and it's a much more drastic cut, that would be the next thing that would go. It is salary, but it is technically an expense because it's not, nobody relies on that. It's not in anybody's benefited hours. They're all voluntary extra hours, but I really don't think we want to do that because we do want to provide level services, and Sundays are very, very important between October and May, and we get that feedback regularly from a wide age range, from students to older adults who just need something to do on a Sunday. So that would be an absolute desperate measure. Okay. September was a good month. They're all good months. Our circulation remains pretty steady. It's more than it was last year, as is our overdrive. Locker use is going up. New library cards are steady. And our visitors remain really strong. We are getting more and more visitors, which just sort of speaks to, I think, a lot of the programming that we're having now. It has taken a couple years to kind of dig out of the COVID programming, but now we do have a lot of people coming into the library. I will say we are now officially completed the Rooted in Reading grant, and it was a really amazing grant. It was only $20,000. We had about, I think about 11,000 or so of in-kind. I don't quote me on that. I'd have to double check, but we anticipated spending about $11,000 of in-kind spending, whether it's through books or extra stuff for the garden or things like that. But it was a really collaborative program that ran with every single team throughout the library, had somebody involved. And we had a lot of partners, and we had some really big programs like the Arbor Day program. And so we really made a lot of partnerships that I think will be lasting. Our goal is to have Rooted in Reading in some form for another 4 years or 5 years. We told the MBLC that we would like to see this sustained for a minimum of 5 years until it gets embedded into our culture. So one of the things we'll be doing in honor of that is applying for sustainable library certification, which is a real thing. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that we can do to become a sustainable library, something that we're committed to. I do want to point out that the Aspen catalog is live. I don't know if you all have gone on to the website. It looks very different. I mean, I shouldn't say the website, to the catalog. It's speedy. It gathers information in a different way. It's a completely, for some people, it's just like, oh yeah, the website changed, or the web page changed and it looks different, and oh gosh, I have to figure out how to get into my account again. From the geeky side, from the librarian side, it is incredible. It's a huge jump from where we were, and able to present information and take all the data that we have in our Evergreen catalog and present it to the public. So it's a big deal. And there's APIs that are integrating with our app and all sorts of other things. So it really is, I'd encourage you to explore it. It's something that comes, I mean, there is a cost to that, but it's all embedded within our, when you sign those large contracts and those large checks for Noble, that's what it's going for, is for enhancements like this that benefit all 26 libraries in the Noble Consortium. I would also encourage you to check out all the program brochures. Michelle does an amazing job every quarter, along with Desiree, putting out, and the rest of the staff that do PR and social media and TikToks and Facebook. But they have, once again, a ridiculous number of, as you heard in September, a ridiculous number of programs going on. So go ahead and check that out. You may have seen, I guess you probably saw it. And one of the big things that we had that was really popular was the flu clinic. We had, I can't remember, I think it was like 30. Yeah.
Last Monday, so she had 30 people come in and get their flu shots, and then I'm not sure how many she had on Tuesday, but just the placement of it up in the Health Nook, it's much more visible. People just coming in for the day were able to get their shots, so it's very successful in that space.
Yeah, so it's a great partnership with our public health department. And we'll have more. They're great. They've done hearing screenings, blood pressure screenings, and vision screenings, I think, even maybe. And these are often for people who don't have the time or the I guess, resources to go to a doctor. And it's just easier to get to the library. We have a new student page who's starting this week. We're very excited. We appreciate that we can hire these students, a couple of them every year. They do graduate and leave, and then we have to hire again. But we like to think that it's a really great experience for them. As I recall, some of them have been like things like, valedictorian or gone to Ivy League colleges. So I'm sure that's all down to their working at the library for some small amount of money. A little bit of a surprise, but we're very excited. Elizabeth Weilbacher, who was our elder services librarian, departed, but she was able to get a directorship at another library. So I think when we see people being promoted at that level, that we know we're doing something right with training our staff. But we are now in the process of hiring for that position, as well as in preparing for Susan Beauregard's retirement in January. We're doing a dual librarian search. So we have a great team working on that right now. And mentioned Susan this month. Actually, Susan hits 32 years at the Reading Public Library, which is pretty incredible. She actually has agreed to do a few Sundays, which is nice. We have several other retired librarians, our retired staff, including Susie Axelson, Kathy Mixes, Eileen Barrett comes in sometimes. So we do have Ashley Waring still comes in. We have some nice alum who come in and help us on Sundays or whatever. Also this month, Jamie Penny hit her 25-year mark. So I always like to call out those big numbers. And then you'll see all the rest of the anniversaries that we have this month. There's a lot of events going on in October, not least of which is Connected Reading. It's another one of Michelle's big projects. That is something we do across the town. We host it here, and there's like 40 tables. There are 49 tables with town departments and nonprofit organizations, along with the Chamber of Commerce, who offer goodie bags. It used to be newcomers for new residents, and now it really is just open to anybody who wants to come learn more about the town, trying to be really inclusive. There are people who may have lived here for years that really don't understand how recycling and the trash work. So maybe they can come and talk to someone from the DPW. That's actually going to be an interesting discussion this year.
Is participation closed?
And you would speak to Michelle if you had more information about that, to get more information. And then finally, our list of selected list of things that we learn every month. And I'm always amazed every month that the range of stuff our staff complete to stay on top of what we can do to provide services to the community. And that's the director's report.
Excellent, thank you. Any questions, anyone? No, we can move on to the approval of the September 2025 meeting minutes. There's no questions. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the minutes as presented.
Second?
All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Moving on to future agenda items. And Amy, you're going to change the budget one, right?
It's off. Michelle won't be here. Michelle will be running the meeting and posting the agenda. So she'll be sending Cappy, you and Pat, she'll send you the draft agenda. Everybody can send any items to Michelle and or Megan. The meeting will be posted because it's on a Wednesday, but Tuesday is a holiday and Friday town hall is closed. We'll still need to post it, I think, on Friday, the previous Friday, which is 9, 8, and 6, maybe November 6th. 7th, thank you. Yes, that's the 7th, you're correct. So that's when it will need to be posted by Thursday. No, Thursday, October 6th. Is that right? Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, November 6th, the November meeting. So we'll need to have any agenda set by Thursday, November 6th. There's one policy to review, which we can either hold on, but it's more just housekeeping details. It's the gift policy. But you can also discuss the distribution policy that was reviewed today and vote on that. But hopefully it will be a quiet month.
Do we have any other questions, additions to the future agenda items or anything?
Just a reminder, at some point you may want to discuss the Mass Library Trustee Association, the MLTA,
Correct.
which is the $100 membership, if you want to. I don't know if anybody had a chance to look at it. It's completely up to you. It's unclear to me. I think we would pay that. I think we would pay that as the town on behalf of the trustees for you to belong. So I think that's all you would need to. I don't have an opinion one way or the other.
Is that for each of us?
No, it's for the entire board.
Do that again. I forgot, refresh my memory. We're also a member of another
It's okay.
group, right?
Right, so we have access to United for Libraries, which is through the Mass Board of Library Commissioners, Massachusetts Library System, that we get for free. And I think you see on the MBLC emails, if you're signed up for them, I don't know if it's Sarah, or there's a couple people that would regularly send you emails and they'll say, oh, there's a conference, online conference or whatever. And those are all usually free. Sometimes there might be something that costs $50 or something, but in general, most of it's free. And it also supports Friends as well. I don't know anything about that because I'm not a library trustee. So you're welcome to research it and decide whether it's something one or all of you would be interested in, you know, like just attending meetings or anything like that.
Do that.
They do note that they have MLTA does have a conference November 1st at the Shrewsbury Library, a Saturday. Yeah, the email had come in, so was there, I don't think there was any discussion last time, right?
Yeah, we just said, we'll think about it and put it on a future agenda, so.
$100 for the year, $100 for the year for the entire board. And the memberships on their website.
Me?
Wait.
What-
I do
what?
have
We
one
got
more
something.
thing.
What?
Thank you, Michelle, for reminding me. I have to share my screen though. I have to find the right thing. So as part of the Rooted in Reading, this is when I meant to do it. Let me just see if I can share my screen. One of the things we got through our Rooted in Reading grant, as we created the wildlife habitat, we wanted to see if there were any actual wildlife. So we actually bought something called a bird buddy. And the sound's not going to come through, but if you're listening to it, this is our first visitor, came on Monday or Sunday, I think. It was raining, but it wasn't as terrible as on Monday. And it's a little blue jay. He's been back several times. We'd love to see other birds there, but we'll take a blue jay. But somebody has found our little bird feeder. So this was very exciting for us. And Michelle's working on ways to share this out to social media, to kind of promote it. Yeah. So, but it is exciting. We created a wildlife habitat. We know the bunnies found it. So there's evidence the bunnies found it. But we're very pleased to find some bird life there. And we have also, in addition to the bird feeder, we have a number of plants that have berries. The American cranberry bush has berries that are really attractive to birds, as well as some of the seed pods and some of the various plants that we've left are very attractive to birds. So we're very excited about this. It's just wild bird seed. So I think it's sunflower. Oh yeah, he's being very selective. So stop that. So that's a library moment for you.
Well, it's better than what was there prior. I mean,
Yeah.
about a year ago.
Oh, a year ago, yeah, it's an amazing, nothing, weeds, weeds and grass,
Weeds.
weeds and grass.
I did speak to someone who went to the school here.
Mhm.
He was very happy when I explained the fountain.
Oh, yeah, the fountain is amazing. You know, we have to remember to keep filling up the little thing, but the fact that it's just sitting, even if it didn't have the water in it, it's beautiful and it really is meaningful. So that's reusing or reclaiming or upcycling. I'm not sure what we want to call it, but it really was, it's really meaningful to have that back.
If there's nothing else, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
All in favor? We are adjourned as of 7:37.